Okay, so what's going wrong with these paddles? Let me demonstrate first. Run. Hey, nailed it on the first try. So maybe it's easier to see if the ball is a different color. Draw. Find where we draw the ball. 12 is white. I think 2 is red. No, that's the paddles. Ball. There we go. Let's see if I can make it do again. Damn it. There we go. So, what's happening here is the ball is hitting a paddle, but the paddle, in this case, the way I replicate it is by moving the paddle into the ball. So the ball hits a paddle because the two are overlapping. It turns the ball around like it's supposed to. Then the ball moves slightly, but it is still inside the paddle, which means it detects another hit, which means it turns the ball around again, moving it effectively further into the paddle, and then again, and then again, and then again, and it's doing this 60 times a second with every tick, until eventually the ball somehow manages to clear the paddle either to the left or to the right. This is partly caused by the fact that we're not checking the paddles individually. But I don't want to check the paddles individually because then we run the risk of changing the code for one paddle and forgetting to change it for the other. So how I think we can solve this is by keeping track of whether the ball has hit a particular paddle in the previous frame, like a running tally, so that the ball only hits the paddle once, even if it is still inside the paddle afterwards. How do we do this? Okay. For each paddle, because the paddle is the thing that's different on each one, for each paddle, we are going to keep track of whether in the previous frame there was a collision. We started as false, because at the beginning of the game, the ball is in the middle, and it won't be touching either paddle. Okay, so both paddles are now tracking whether on the previous frame they were colliding with the ball. Now, we need to update this value. So, in updates, the clue is in the name, where we check whether the paddle was hit. Ball to paddle. We check the ball collision, do whatever we need to do, and then when we're done with that, we need to save the current value to that paddle, so that on the next go around it knows whether on this one, the previous frame, we were colliding or not. Now if we're going to be saving the collision, we don't really want to do collisions twice, so maybe I'll make this a local. We're doing this inside the for loop because we want to do this for each individual pad. We need to give this a name. If pad hit is equal to, okay, not if. So local pad hit is whether the ball is hitting the paddle, this particular paddle or not. Then we only need to check that one number. So for now, if I run this, nothing should change. I feel like I should have a t-shirt that says, if I run this, nothing should change. Okay, we still have the bug, but at least everything is still working, even with our little change here. Then we need to update each panel on whether it has a hit or not. So when we're done with this thing, this is for each paddle. So we need to do this before we move on to the next paddle. Pad dot, what do we call it? Previous collide is equal to whatever pad hit is at this stage. So if we hit the ball, we do what we need to and then save the fact that we hit the ball. If we don't hit the ball, we do nothing and then we save the fact whether we hit the ball or not. So that value will always be whether we were hit on the previous turn. But then we should only trigger a hit if in this frame the pad is hitting the ball and not in the previous frame. and this is for this particular paddle. So theoretically, I should not be able to make it do it again, and run. Hey, that was actually the perfect example, because the ball was almost all the way through, and it still turned around and didn't glitch. Come on. There we go. Unable to replicate. Bug considered fixed. Resolved. Mark that ticket as resolved. IT jokes. Don't worry about it. Okay. That solves the problem. Now we know we can safely handle ball collisions without accidentally triggering them twice. Plus we can do fun things where we can make the ball blink or change color when it hits, but that we can do later. Maybe we should change that ball back to white, because I kind of like the white aesthetic. But now that we know that we have reasonably solid collision detection on the pads, we can now make the game a bit more interesting. Because at this stage, I mean, I can play against myself forever like this, and even having to contend with both paddles, I can very easily move my paddle. The mouse out of the way. See, even moving the mouse out of the way, I have more than enough time to get this. So how are we going to make players stress and struggle? Because this is zen. This is super chilled. I can do this all day and nobody scores. How about if the game speeds up? So the first thing to make the game speed up is to have some kind of speed multiplier. So here at the top, where's our globals? Here we go. We have the pad height, we have ball size, and then game speed. This is going to be a multiplier, so we started off as 1. I'm going to put 1.0. In most languages, this will change it to a floating value. Lua doesn't care whether a number is an integer or a decimal. They're just all numbers. So it doesn't make a massive difference, but in my case, game speed is 1. Then where do we implement game speed? There's only really two aspects of the game that moves, that dictates time. And that is the paddles. Those are the paddles and the ball. So for the paddles, here's where we move them. It's in inputs. So we take the amount that we move the paddle up in this case is by speed, the paddle's speed. This we can now multiply with game speed, which at the moment is 1. So paddle speed times 1 is still paddle speed. We're going to change that number in a second. And then for going down, times game speed. Okay. So now theoretically, if we change the game speed, the paddles should move faster. What else do we need to move faster? The ball, which I think is actually the important one. Ball to paddle. Where? Move the ball here. So that's the ball's X position. So we add delta X to it times game speed. And then the same for Y times game speed. I can't keyboard today. Okay. Still, we're multiplying by 1, which is not going to make a difference. But every time a paddle hits the ball, it should go a little faster. So, ball to paddle. We turn the ball around, we play the sound, then we speed up the game. So game speed. By what? Linearly? Or by multiply. So game speed is equal to game speed. At this point, we can make it go progressively faster by just going plus something small. I think 0.2 works. Now it'll speed up linearly. So every time it touches, it'll go a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. We can also do this as a multiply, in which case the game speed would be... Let me demonstrate. Let's do linear first. Game speed plus 0.2. And obviously, we need to... I didn't save. Episode 7. What was I saying? Oh yeah. This might break. It didn't. Okay. Actually, you know what? This will make more sense if we can actually see what the game speed is. So let's quickly, in our draw function, open draw function right at the bottom for debug purposes. We're going to print game speed in the top left corner in white, just so that we can see what the game speed is. Okay, here goes. Game speed is 1. Game speed is 1.2. Game speed is 1.4. Ooh, it's getting faster. And my paddles are moving faster as well. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, now it's double speed. Ah! Ah! Okay, I can officially not catch it anymore. The paddle is moving too fast. There we go. Oh, that's finicky. Every key press moves the paddle so fast. On a controller, this is nightmare. Anyway, for comparison, how long did that take to happen? I don't know. Now let's do the same thing, but instead of adding 0.2, we multiply it. Now keep an eye on the game speed. It goes from 1 to, times 1.2. So we're adding 20%. That's the same. The first update is the same, but now it multiplies that by itself. So instead of going 1.4, it goes 1.44, then 1.7. So this gets out of hand way faster. That might even be a bit... And the amount with which it gets faster every time increases as well. So not only is the game going progressively faster, but the game is going faster. I don't like that. Some people might like that. I don't like that. So I think I'm just going to keep it linear. Just add 0.2. Just add 20% to the speed of the original speed every time we hit the ball. Okay, but the paddles do get out of hand a little bit towards the end. So we should probably start the paddles off right at the top. We should start the paddles off being a bit slower. Now, if I make this 1, we have the problem that we won't, the paddle and the ball is moving in the same direction, we can't actually catch up to it. So we do have to be moving slightly faster than the paddle to begin with. Right? Okay, let's try this. Speed 1. Oh yes, the paddles feel nice and sluggish now. This is not bad. Ugh. I still feel like I have control, but the ball does feel like it's going really fast. Oh, what the? You know what we're not doing? When the next round starts, the ball needs to be slow again. So in reset, we reset, excuse the pun, the ball speed back to 0, back to normal speed, the game speed. Okay. Slow and sluggish. Starts off chilled. Then gets more exciting, more exciting, more exciting. Ooh, and then see that, now it's slow again. Hey, it even works. And now it ramps, and it ramps. I missed it, and now it's slow again. Cool. That wasn't too difficult. There is one minor issue that we haven't encountered, but it can potentially happen. Is what happens if the ball is moving so fast that on one frame it's before the paddle and on the next frame it's after the paddle. It wouldn't register a hit. Also, I kind of feel like at a certain point the game gets out of hand fast. So this will theoretically solve both those problems. But by how much? Where do we stop increasing the speed? Well, it's going to miss the paddle if the ball moves further than the paddle is wide. And the paddle is... how wide? Where's draw? In the draw function, paddles are 4 pixels wide. That's hard-coded. So that's not going to change unless we change it and introduce a bug. But I can't imagine a situation where we would need to make the paddles fatter unless we introduce like a kids mode. Okay, so increase game speed by 0.2, but only if game speed is less than 4. Then do this. I wonder whether it would make sense at this juncture to take all of this code out of updates, because updates is getting a bit big. So let's grab everything that happens when up to there, everything that happens in this if, and we just call pad hit and then do everything in there. Ooh, but we have a pad hit. So this is a variable and this is a function, but they have the same name. So can't copy or cut now because I have all my code in my clipboard. Let's rename this to pad collide. It makes more sense in context anyway, because then it's pad collide and not previous collide. Okay, and then right at the bottom we make a function called pad hit. And doesn't matter which pads, we don't need to pass that information in, and then we need to fix our indentation. Let's just do this manually. There. No. Yeah. There. 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 Oop. There. Okay, with all of this. Where does this extra end come from? Because that's if end. Why is this here? Hold on. Let me just bookmark this quick. Control F1 or just clicky there. Go back to where we're calling it. Did I accidentally cut? Yes, I did. So if this and then pad hit and then it comes out. So this end down here, this, we still need to, once we're done registering the hit, we need to save. The funny thing is, when I was cutting out this code, I looked at it for a second as if I knew something was wrong. We still need to update whether the pad was hit or not, regardless of whether it actually hit. So if pad collide and not previous collide, then the pad hits, but either way we save whether we did hit or not. Okay, as usual, it should run without breaking because I didn't actually change anything. Oh no, I did break something. What did I break? Oh, no, wait. No, that's correct. Checkball collisions pad, we have pad, pad hit end. Pad previous collide is equal to pad hit. Oh, because I renamed the variable, but I didn't change the name here. I was setting previous collide to the name of a function. Go figure. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. It's working, it's working, it's working! It's working! Okay, theoretically, this will keep going. Now I have to play for a while to demonstrate my issue. Okay, I've played 25 rounds of this and I can't actually get it up to 4. So I'm going to cheese it just to see if our code works. Where's paddle height? Paddle height. Just going to make it something ridiculous. This looks so dumb. .2. Ah, come on. How can I still lose against myself? Okay, good news. It locks at 4. Look, it's not going up anymore. And this is plenty fast enough, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with this. Now, what can we do in the next episode? We can make the game wait for you to start. But then we'll need some kind of a UI to explain why the game isn't starting. Like a ready, and then what button you have to press to actually start. And then we might want to make it someone's turn so that only they can start. It's going to become interesting.